All right, we're going to get started with Stonewall Jackson's Way. We're going to play the big basic scenario, the Rappahannock, from the Rappahannock to Bull Run. So the second Bull Run campaign, where Jackson flank marched, got in the railroad cut near Manassas, and Pope, the inept Union commander, failed to get after Jackson with full force. And then on the next day, Lee with Longstreet smacked the Union in the left flank, kind of similar to Chancellorsville, although I don't think they pursued it nearly as much. And of course, this is the fight where McClellan said, "Let Pope get himself out of his own mess," something to that effect. So anyhow, here's everybody down on the Rapidan, or the Rappahannock. Most of these units, I guess, they've been fighting, so they've got fatigue levels of 2, a lot of them, and you know, Confederates are pretty strong, pretty centralized there. Union's a little spread out, but they're falling away. And then I'm assuming all of this belongs to McClellan back here near D.C. They're in Falls Church and Annandale. All right, and then there's that supply depot sitting right there by itself, the Union supply depot. And these two stacks up here, these are just reinforcements that come on later, around turn 3 or something like that. All right, so we're going to get started on this. As soon as I get a turn or 2 in, they say this one takes a little time to play. It's 7 turns, but you figure you got an awful lot of activations in each of the turns. So as soon as we get done with a turn or 2, we'll get back and get you updated. All right, we'll see you soon. All right, so we started the first turn here. We played through the first turn. There's in the Rappahannock to Bull Run scenario, the big scenario. There's not much that can happen on the first turn because only Jackson's wing or corps, however you want to call it, can move, and one of the cavalry units. So Jackson has started one of his infamous flanking moves. Most of the Union troops here and the Confederate troops here along the Rappahannock are they're all at fatigue level 2, and they can't do anything on the first turn. And all the stuff back here near D.C. really can't do anything on the first turn either. Some of them can't even do nothing until the third turn. So I placed some markers, these multicolored markers, down on these objectives. And there's one under the supply depot. They're all along the railroad there. And the Confederates get major victory points for either destroying or damaging these railheads. There's rules regarding that. Depending on the strength of the unit, I think if it's a 5 strength or better, it destroys the thing completely. So that is the objectives, the main objectives, and of course you get casualty objectives, or you get victory points for casualties too. The only reinforcements in the game, I've got them just sort of stacked up top here. I think the Union one comes in on game turn 3. I have to look at that as I go. But we're going to move on here to game turn 2. Jackson was able executed 2 actions with all of these units here, so they went to fatigue level 2, and then of course when you recover, as long as it's not above that, they get to have those removed. I think you get to have 3 levels removed each turn. But you got to be careful, because if you go too far, then you end up in an exhausted state. You don't really want that. All right, so we're going to get on to the second game turn, which is the 26th of August. And we'll get back to you as soon as we get done with that. See you soon. All right, we've played the August 26th and August 27th turns. So Jackson made his flank march and initially tried to get after these railroad depots right here. Let me turn that light off, see if it's any better. All right, he tried to get after these railroad depots right here. And the Union got there to meet him. Heintzelman and Reno, and now some of these Union units that were released up near the D.C. area have moved down the rail line. Taylor and Scammons, they get a special move on turn 3, 35 rail hexes, and they move to that depot right there to protect it. Confederate cavalry, they've moved over here. One of them got smacked in the face. He was the first one to get to that railroad depot down there at Manassas Junction. And they had the Union supply station. And, of course, Heintzelman chased them out of there, and Jackson tried to attack. once and it failed. So the second attack, he chose a smaller unit and down here. He failed against Heintzelman. And then he attacked and chased this unit out, demoralized. And then, of course, Reno's moved up. Pope came on the board here, or not Pope. Pope moved up from down below when he was released on the third turn. And Porter, his corps, Sykes comes in at fatigue level 1 down here. Morell's at fatigue level 3, so now he ends up exhausted, and he didn't get to do anything. But Sykes had a big roll, rolled a 6, and got a +2 because of the corps commander. Did a corps leader activation, so he's moved up there. So they're gonna get a lot of forces in there. I'm still trying to figure out how the second Battle of Bull Run happened the way it did, because I'm gonna have to, and I've read 2 or 3 books on that. I need to go back and read that again, because I don't think I've ever read about how or why the Union down here on the Rappahannock, they've got Lee bottled up right there, Lee and Longstreet, and the units are pretty strong. How Lee and Longstreet ended up getting through here and hitting the Union Army in the left at Bull Run. And especially with all the forces that, I know ineptitude for some of the leaders, and of course McClellan not wanting to help. Because let me tell you what, if McClellan had released all of this, which in this game I will have the option to do it. I mean, you got, that's the 6th Corps is I believe the Union Army's biggest corps throughout the war. And I'll have the option as the Union player to release them. All right, so some of the cavalry starting to react. Ricketts is holding his own. McDowell's still not active yet because nobody's got within 2 hexes of him. King, both of these King and Ricketts units have 18 manpower, 18 combat strength. So Hood and D.R. Jones really can't make a good attack there. Plus, you'll notice most of the Union leaders I see have better artillery rating, whereas the Confederate leaders have better command rating. All right. I have pushed across here, but these 2 attacks didn't go off very well. So now Banks is activated. And Williams is only a 6th strength unit, but he was able to fend off 2 units right there. So, all right, well, we've got getting ready to start the August 28th turn. And we'll see if, well, Jackson, these divisions underneath here, they're exhausted. The divisions underneath Heintzelman are exhausted. Underneath Reno are exhausted. He's exhausted. Stewart had made 3 moves. He's exhausted. The brigade underneath him is exhausted. This guy's demoralized and exhausted. This guy's demoralized and exhausted. I'm going to tell you what, I'm having a blast with this. I wouldn't doubt if I just start rolling through all of the first 5 versions of the great campaigns. I need to get my hands on to Richmond. My buddy Osprey, he has that. In shrink wrap. I know I'm going to pay a decent penny for that one because it's so hard to get, but he says it's mine if I want it, and I do want it. And then I guess I'll have to start working on multi-man's versions, because I'm telling you, these games are phenomenal. I'm really it's a shame that I missed these back in the, 90s or early 2000s or 80s, whenever it was when they first started, because these are awesome. I mean, I've only played one small scenario, and now I'm playing this large one, and I am just enjoying the daylights out of this. All right, well, we'll get back to you maybe after the next turn or next 2 turns. All right, thanks for watching. Hey, if you like it, let me know. Click like, give me a comment, give me some criticism, whatever you want to put in there. You know, I like constructive criticism. And if you want to keep up, click subscribe and notify, and that way you'll get updates whenever I make a new video. Hope to keep pushing out more. I need to get back over to France 40 here and do some more on that shortly. Weekend's coming up. We'll get a lot done. All right, talk to you later.